Hi, I'm Dr. Gilgamesh, and I'd like to introduce you to my podcast, Emotional Anatomy. It's an intelligently designed anatomy that has as its goal the recruiting your interest and curiosity as to how it works so that you can become more familiar with it and, as a result, better at it and enjoy it more. Welcome. I'm back again. And I'm always excited about the opportunity to present to you these concepts of emotional anatomy. You see, my claim is that it's a very simple description of how our minds work, and that it's been laid down by DNA for us to understand. I think it's an invitation to understand. It's an ability to understand. It's really quite remarkable that it can be understood. And as a scientist, I'm claiming that there's a vocabulary I can use to assist you in seeing it more clearly. And that scientific method means that if it's not reproducible, if you can't see what I see, then it's not real. Now, I must admit that there are some people that I talk to about this, and they haven't got the foggiest idea about what I'm saying, and it can even disturb them, you know. It's a shame, but the reality is that as you witness what I'm talking about, you're better able to see your emotional anatomy in action. And sure enough, boom, there are all these exciting firecrackers that can go off, and you're much more aware of them. That's the principle. That is the purpose. That is what we're calling awareness. It becomes a mindfulness, and these are the new psychological concepts that are inviting us into our mind. And now I'm suggesting that the vocabulary, emotional anatomy, is helping you see the mechanics. You see, the emotion is the kingpin around which the entire mind is organized. We attempt to make it intellectual, but what we find is that the intellectual brain, the gray matter, is organized and structured by the emotion. It is a lensing, the emotional lensing, that helps us focus upon the intellectual ideas that are predominant in our mind. And therefore, I talk about the tug of war. But now, here's something of interest to you. Of course, we're introducing freedom versus slavery as the summation of all human psychology. That when you finally give yourself a chance to understand what the old guy is saying here, that you realize that freedom versus slavery summarizes the experience, because the emotion makes reflexes, emotional reflexes, default emotional reflexes over which you have no control. We used to call it the unconscious or the subconscious, but in fact, it's in your face. The only problem being is that we have yet to initiate a vocabulary that allows us to describe the emotion, to sense the emotion, recognize the emotion, realize that these are habits and patterns laid down as a result of triggered emotional anatomy, and oftentimes emotional anatomy that has helped us survive. I met one person that actually discovered when they were able to step back and see through the lens of awe and wonder, hey, wait, that's the very same emotion that helped me be successful, and it is now standing in my way from achieving a peaceful, relaxed, awe and wonder perspective, you see, because there was a tug of war between that awe and wonder perspective versus the lensing that assisted them in being a focused and directed person. So that's how complicated it is, but let's keep it simple. Let's turn now and see a very fascinating phenomena. I'm talking about gratitude guides your heart home. And as a result of guiding you hard home, you begin to catch glimpses of this awe and wonder. And through that lens of awe and wonder, I'm going to propose to you that gratitude guides you hard home, and it's instantly gratifying. Wow! I see what you mean. Wow, this is exciting. And that it is through that lens of awe and wonder that you realize that, wait, there is an emotional anatomy. There is a shift in that anatomy that allows a shift in the lens through which we view the world. And when we shift that lens into the heart's home, which we've discussed in other videos, that awe and wonder lens is experienced. It's something that's wonderful. It's actually a very rewarding experience, perhaps, in my opinion, the most rewarding experience on the planet. And that in that way, it invites you to become a participant in this experience. And so I'm pitching it to you. And I'm hoping that you'll study it long enough to catch on to what I'm saying. But I'm now presenting you something, instant gratification, boom. But that's the bow and arrow, that's the shot in your mind's eye toward that heart's home. And as close as you can get, a bullseye allows, boom, that explosion of this through this lens of awe and wonder, seeing through the lens of awe and wonder, recognizing what I'm discussing and feeling and sensing that instant gratification that gratitude offers. Now, the fascinating reality is that it's not something that you can hold on to. A lot of people that work with me will say, yes, well, I think I see what you mean, but then it disappears and the old ways of thinking come back again. These are default emotional reflexes, habitual patterns that repeat themselves endlessly, and for the rest of your life, nothing is going to change. I can't change it. It's in your head already. This is emotional anatomy, and anatomy doesn't change that much. I still look very much like I did years ago, not quite as young as I was, but that the concept is one of that the anatomy doesn't change that much. Now, granted, it has changed significantly, and I do look older. Certainly, the mind becomes more mature, and I would say it's more familiarity with the anatomy, and therefore I'm better able to navigate and not get trapped in default emotional reflexes that used to trap me. Now, the concept, though, and what we're working on today is that instant gratification. Oh, there it is. Wow. That wow lens, that lens of awe and wonder. But now watch this. Gratitude guides your heart home, and you discover consistent gratification. For the more you return through gratitude, the more consistently you experience the lens of awe and wonder, the more often you realize the rewards, the more consistently gratifying the experience is. It gets you excited. You want to do it more and more and more. And so whatever we see that challenges us, we face. We turn and face it with gratitude. You see, we have to learn that what we're doing is learning to choose wisely. We're learning to choose navigation instead of mastery. We're learning to choose frequently and wisely amongst the many options available to us. And through the lens of awe and wonder, you get a chance to see the rainbow of opportunity that is available to each one of us. Freedom versus slavery. And through freedom, you can see the entire rainbow. I've said many times, if you cannot see a rainbow through the window of your wisdom, you're stuck in a box. That is the prison of slavery. And so whatever we face, whatever challenges we face, I'm contending that this privileged view through the lens of awe and wonder, by freedom to choose wisely and consistently, gratitude guiding you heart home, then boom, you get a chance to see what's standing in the way. And sometimes it can be very shocking. In fact, what used to be called unconscious becomes very conscious. I see it. My goodness, my insecurities I speak of frequently because I'm, of course, worried that the vocabulary is inadequate and people aren't going to catch on, and that's sort of my life's blood. I've been doing this for a long time, and want the vocabulary to be successful. But in order for that to occur, it has to be a collaborative vocabulary. I've spoken of it before. We're all narcissists. You see, my vocabulary came out of my eyes, my brain, my thoughts, my imagination. And so we need your help to collaborate with me, a narcissist. You're stuck with the same idea that you can only see the world through your eyes and your brain and your unique emotional, physical anatomies. And therefore, that concept of the concept is that our condition is narcissistic. Now, this is not a negative description. You see, what happens when I present these ideas is the narcissists in the room get very upset with me because they are conditioned to think of that as an insult rather than as our condition. So rather than turning back and seeing through the lens of awe and wonder, wow, yeah, I really can't see the world through anybody else's eyes but my own, and therefore our collaboration begins to assist one another in a navigation that allows this heart home to grow, and through that heart home to see more clearly. And through that seeing more clearly, we get more excited, we get more privileged to return heart home, where we then glimpse this lens of awe and wonder. I'm a scientist. I think it's exciting. I think it's the most rewarding experience on the planet. I think it's instantly gratifying when you get it the first time. And then since it's instantly gratifying, you're excited to do it again. Let me see that one again. Whoa, you're right. It's there. It's real. Let me see that again. Thank you. And that through gratitude, you begin seeing it and it actually grows. You get better at it, basically. You become more familiar with the navigation pathway heart home, so that then that lens of awe and wonder is more repetitiously accessible. It becomes consistently gratifying. I find that word interesting, of course. I'm sure that the academics amongst us will be able to take the derivation of the word and find gratitude in gratifying, and that gratitude guides us into this gratifying experience. Wonderful. So, welcome aboard. Now, in the future, you're going to be perhaps stumbling on videos that, unless you're comfortable with these materials, you probably shouldn't watch them because they're too complicated and can get you upset, I suppose. I don't know. Share with us what's happening. Let us understand the emotional reflexes that happen to you. You're unique in all the world. You're a human, and nothing's going to change about that. The 5 fingers are DNA derived. And we do trust and hope they don't change, because that hurts. Ooh! Thank you. Guides your heart home. And gradually you'll become more familiar with that. Where's my thumb? It's an anatomy. You know where it is. Where's my thumb? You still know where it is. Your imagination is able to find it. But now where's your heart's home? And that becomes a tug of war. That becomes a battle, a wrestling match, an imaginative exercise in choosing wisely what's better than what you chose last time. And that's freedom. Freedom chooses what's better and better and better and better. Welcome aboard. And until next time, you take good care. I'm genuinely excited about bringing you a new awareness of the mind and how it works. Emotional anatomy, heart home wisdom, being able to see through the lens of awe and wonder. These podcasts are free, but you can contribute to them and make them possible through patreon.com/emotional anatomy. Please also join us on our Facebook group. Thank you.